products from industry. They're pre-cut cast-offs that have been used for other industrial projects, and it's the scrap pieces that they can't use. But there's no point in buying a whole hide of leather if you're just going to use small projects, and these can be bought fairly cheaply. They do come often with little marks and things on them, so you've got to find an area of the hide of the leather. It's going to be usable for the size of the project that you want, and I think ours will just cover there. So we've turned to the back side of the leather, and we're just going to mark on the size of the actual project. We're going to want to cut slightly further out than this because we want to have some to wrap around. We do need to mark it on so we don't cut too small. We also want to mark on the areas that we want to cut out to expose the camera. Don't have to be too neat because this is going to be covered. Long as it covers the whole project. It'll get messy. And then start folding it across. First, I'm just pressing it down with our fingers. Cut where the holes are all the way through. I'll wait for that to dry. I'm going to need to do something that's going to cover the inside, which is looking a bit naff at the moment. To do that, I've bought this cardstock. This one I'm going to fold over, and then I'm going to cut out. And the way we want to cut this is to have the open side with the holes for the camera and microphone at this end, and we want to try and glue it so it's only the top 2/3 that are attached. Okay, and the way to attach the elastic is to attach one end first with the hot glue gun, and once that's mostly set, relatively set, you want to try and attach the other end as quickly as you can by stretching it around and keeping it under tension. We need it to be under tension because we want to be able to hold the tablet securely in place. careful not to burn yourself as you do that. For these ones we're gluing one end to the inside, the other end will go underneath. Now for the gilding paste. So the glue hasn't been strong enough to hold onto the tab, so we're going to have to sew it on. First thing what I need to do is to wax the thread. And there we have it, a grimoire worthy of a wizard. Is this particularly the most fantastic cover for a case? Well, no, it's my first attempt at both leatherworking and gilding. And the gilding is definitely a skill, something that with practice you get better at, but I've certainly not had very much practice at it. The cracks in it, however, do give it a sort of weathered and aged look, which I'm quite fond of, like the book's been on some adventures. And the leather work itself is a little bit rough, but again, first attempt. And for my first attempt, I think it came out quite well. The main thing I'll do differently next time is picking out thicker card and maybe building it up more, because the detailing isn't particularly that 3D. I had the vision that it would be more textured. The centre bit is quite textured where I've leveled it up 3 layers. These, where it's only 1 layer, are only slightly raised, and there is actually details down the bottom, 2 triangles and a circle, but they're so flat you can't tell they're there, so I haven't bothered gilding them. I'm just pretending they don't exist. In terms of difficulty, I'd give this out of 10 probably about a 7. The most difficult parts are the gilding, which is a skill, but again, with practice, I suppose you could get a decent level of proficiency with that fairly quickly. The leatherworking is quite physically difficult when you happen to put the threading through, pasting it down and smoothing it out is fairly easy. Wrapping it round and getting it across a 3D shape is slightly more difficult. I suppose if I'd gone through greater detailing with the leather itself, then it would have been even more difficult, but it's my first attempt, so I'll try to keep it simple. If, however, you didn't do the gilding or the leather work, and you instead gone for a fabric cover, maybe got some denim from an old pair of jeans, or a piece of cotton from a skirt or something, or a t-shirt, then you could easily bring that difficulty rating down to a 4, simply because the most difficult elements of it have been taken out of the equation. In terms of the amount of time it took, for me, with filming, it was about 3 afternoons worth of work after I'd finished work. So if you were trying to do it yourself, it would probably only be 1 afternoon and then letting the glue dry and then finishing it the next day. So probably a weekend job, something even kids could do if they were doing it just a fabric cover. So this is a fairly simple and quick project. Well, you could make it more difficult, but overall it's fairly simple and quick. And I think everything turned out fine.